That's that.
Do you go and report on them to the Chamberlain? I wouldn't put it that way. Nothing.
I think one.
You'll have even.
All right.
And when. Lads! All think running the castle is a piece of cake.
Where's that fool of a blacksmith? That miserable blacksmith. Like always, he loiters around here all day, and when you need him, he vanishes like the wind.
Have you seen Erezine the Scribe recently?
About that horseshoe.
Well?
Yeah.
Well, what are you standing around here for? I told you to take it to Kabat.
Wedding like.
It was nice. Good food.
I brought you those.
That took. And you know.
You?
Exactly. All right.
I'll be going.
Wedding like.
It was nice. Good food.
Suppose he likes to enjoy the view.
What's the matter?
Because the lock...
But the
I know...
blacksmith.
Uh-huh.
Can I help?
No.
I know how.
All right.
So I got.
It's...
Yeah.
Never mind. What a day. I burned the roux in the morning, and then the girl told me we're out of venison. I don't know what that gamekeeper's up to again. Actually, I do know, and it ain't nothing good. And now this. 3 years that lock is broken, and 3 years that good-for-nothing has been promising to fix it. But no.
Excuse me.
After all, I'm just a stupid cook, Fanka, who's always nagging and won't leave anyone in peace. But if I didn't nag...
Eh? Huh?
The bell's ringing for Hans the 5th time.
Please.
Pardon?
If you want, unless.
No.
Am I...
I must be mad.
blow that comes in, he does a
And
pretty
don't gobble
conventional
everything,
parry,
fella.
as we'd call it, on an inside guard or cart, if you want to use sort of 19th century fencing terms. You can see that they've consulted with people who know about historical combat, and I know that the team that work on Kingdom Come have absolutely consulted HEMA experts on this. Oh, right. Okay, I really like the detail there and the use of the left hand. So, you know what? I've got a medieval sword.
Still
there,
hungry.
you know, as you do. So, one of the things that I think not everybody realizes is when we're using swords, especially if you're just using a single sword by itself, we'll often use the spare
You're welcome.
hand. So, it's great to see that you can use it for grabbing the other person's hand or arm, manipulating their body, even punching them. I wasn't too happy about that cut, though, and there's a reason here. Now, we're going to talk about the armor. So the guy is dressed in kind of late 14th century style armor, as far as I can see, which is a bassinet helmet with an attached aventail, it's called. So that chainmail around the neck, that's called an aventail. Now, you wouldn't be able to cut through that. You could stab through it, but you wouldn't be able to cut through it. So I'm not that happy about the cutting move specifically shown against the mail, because it wouldn't go through it. Although I like his guard position, it's kind of weirdly wide. There is a guard in the Italian systems that we call posto di
What in
finestra,
God's name are you
which is the
doing here?
window guard, and usually it's held
You can
close.
completely hide behind. They're a bit like a door. They've got all of the key elements of Holy Roman Empire warfare visible in here. The baggage train, the encampment, obviously the soldiers, but the large pavises at the front for the soldiers to advance behind. In terms of how they're advancing, I have to say, they're quite slow. We can't go back in time, we don't have a time machine, and we don't know how quickly they advanced on enemy walls, but bows and crossbows only really have an effective range of 200, 250 yards for the most part. Some bows can shoot further than that, but for the most part, that's the danger area, is that 200 yards between you and the enemy. You want to cover that 200 yards in a fairly rapid, not running, because you want to be behind your pavises and you want to be coordinated. I don't think they'd walk incredibly slowly while being shot at. I think they would probably do it at a brisk walk. But anyway, let's see what happens next. So one other thing that's missing here is, why aren't they shooting back? So generally, if you're attacking a fortification or a ship, one of the priorities is to try and clear enemy defenders. You know, it's cover.
If you really want to, you can do really agile warrior, mostly bows and stealth, and in combat, really high stamina regeneration. But I still think that if you have the stats for it, going for the proper layered armor is the best strategy you can employ.
Let's go and strip. Henry,
9th bell. Only
fellas,
3 to
come and
go.
help us get out of this armor.
This is almost done.
The first Kingdom Come Deliverance began with helping your father make a sword, but that was only possible in that one cutscene. In KCD2 though, Henry can take up his dear old dad's profession for real, and a good blade fetches a high price.
So there's very minimal UI. You really have to do all those things you really have to do even in the game. You have to heat the sword, you have to check how temperature of the blade is, and you check it by just looking at the blade, and you have to correctly gauge the color of the blade. I think it's really cool minigame, but it can be also a very good source of money at the beginning. There's one quest at the beginning which will introduce you to a smith. You can help him, and he will also give you access to a blacksmithing place where you can do that.
And if you're not fond of pounding ingots into shape, you can also pick up Henry's old alchemy habit from the previous game, which has also been streamlined a bit.
It's faster to do potions now, so it's also a very good source of money at early game. And there's also a lot of useful perks. Pretty early on you can unlock a perk that will unlock new tiers of potions, which are very powerful, and it can help with many things. For example, there's stats requirements for some weapons, so if you have this potion, it's easier for you, or you can heal yourself a little bit. You can also sell those potions, they sell for pretty hefty sum.
How bold of you! You steal something from us, and then you go walking around with it on. That's not happening.
But what if you'd rather not bother with an honest day's work at all? After all, what's the fun in a big open world with guards and laws if you can't go on a criminal rampage? KCD2 has you covered there as well.
If you are not afraid to do some shady work,
I forget?
to do something like this, it's a really good source of income.
I've got a horse for you here.
What do you want to do with him?
I want to exchange him for groschen.
For this one, I will give you this much.
Medieval weapons and armor, and progressing through the improved perk system. Maybe Hans will stop being a huge bag of dicks too.
We've got no message, no coin, nothing but our ragged arses.
You know, anything is theoretically possible. I'm just glad I won't have to wait much longer. For even more from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, make sure to stick with IGN all December long, as our exclusive coverage continues. But for now, make sure to check out the opening 40 plus minutes of gameplay.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is scheduled for release on February 4th, 2025. It's an action RPG developed by Warhorse Studios and coming out on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation platforms. If you want new reviews and exclusive videos coming up on the brand new games, maybe subscribe. So here's my review for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Battle Bros bath time. Dogs, swords, shields, dogs, and ladies of the night who've had to clap so many times it sounds like applause. And dogs, again, just saying. Kingdom Come Deliverance continues the story of the frickin' frack of medieval immersive sins, and that's Hans and Henry, who are just 2 to 3 days out after the ending of the original game, directly following the events of that first title. Set in early 15th century Bohemia amidst the turmoil of a civil war, with both of them traveling across the land on a new mission to Trotsky Castle. After a short prelude, the game starts out with you entering the new land and making camp with your fellow party members, learning the ropes about interactions with the game. The best part here is that as the men sit down to discuss life, this is also where you flesh out
10th bell.
additional skills.
I don't have
This
much
is
time
like
left.
the ancient heady days of titles like Ultima, with you sitting at the fire telling tall tales of maidens and drinking games. It's an elegant solution to what can be a very clumsy part of gameplay, and it turns what is sometimes a contentious starting moment in titles to something that becomes a continuous moment. So for example, if you discuss some activity you performed, or let's say just the work you did with your dog, that skill is adjusted as well as others. It offers a completely natural way to feel like Henry moved up a bit and had experiences prior. The sense of camaraderie here, that ultimate feeling of group established prior to the time of this game, whether you played that or not, is solidified right here. I've rarely felt that turn with a group like this so quickly and succinctly. The trading of stories, the oratory amongst friends, of tawdry details is exactly what you think it is. I adore games that nest the fiction into the function just enough.
Did you get it?
Making even the initial couple talks and skills feel like a natural progression of characters living in a world where mud is bathwater. And in a world like that, things
It
don't
will have
always
to be
go well,
diluted.
and that establishes the starting of the story that slowly evolves into a tale of backstabbing